Sungmin ultimately falls and loses consciousness. The next thing he remembers is waking up into an unknown room with a hot Scarlet sitting right across from him. I smell something spicy cooking. He slowly gets up and looks at his bandaged body, proceeding to ask her where he is. She snaps shut her book with a smile and congratulates him on not dying and that he has been out for 3 days. My man went into hibernation mode. After the battle, Scarlet took refuge at a nearby village where through the help of a doctor and her potions, they were able to heal his wounds and broken bones. She asks how he is feeling now, to which Sungmin flexes his muscles and says that he can easily move now. This makes her angry and she kicks him with her milky white legs. How could someone with broken bones and fractures just heal in 3 days? Sungmin wants to know how that's possible. It's all due to the black heart that has attached itself to him. Scarlet can sense that he's hiding something from her and that he hasn't been entirely honest either. She inquires from him about the monster brat who happened to know who he is. Scarlet, unlike most women, always gets her way, and thus Sungmin ends up spilling the beans of his entire journey to date. She sits next to him and sympathizes over his experience so far. He has gone through a whole lot alone, and there was no one he could share this heavy guilt and burden in his heart with. Raising her arms behind her, she exclaims how he is lucky since she was here for him at the right time. If she didn't tag along with him, he would have probably died. She keeps her arm out to get a fist bump from him, but Lee isn't very enthusiastic at the moment. He avoids bumping her fist and instead turns around and asks her why she didn't run away when she had the chance. It was a life-threatening situation, and that bratty monster was only after him. She could have just disappeared. The excitement and spark in her eyes dies in seconds. She didn't like this question. Why would she leave her friend behind, especially since she knew it would end up killing him? She stands up and asks if he has ever been through war. Sungmin answers in the negative, to which she goes down memory lane and narrates her childhood drama. She recalls the brutalities of war, the killing, the blood, and the hatred that it engulfed everyone. She doesn't know when or why it even started, but it ended up taking everyone she held close to her heart. Even her village was destroyed. Since then, it has been hard to cope with such a sense of loss, which is why she has never allowed anyone to get close to her or even attach herself to anyone. Nonetheless, she quickly jumps back to her cheery self and remarks how it wasn't really a matter of choice since it all happened so fast and she couldn't leave him alone, especially since he had made a face that she knew too well. He was going through some trauma in his mind and she didn't want him to face it all alone, the same way that she did. Lee Sungmin stays silent through everything that she says, showing us that he's trying to act cool or something. Don't bother, bro, she isn't going to let you hit. Scarlet tells him to cheer up and look at the bright side. She isn't dead yet, and she has survived the war as well as multiple hardships, and this is nothing to her. She points her finger at him and gives him one piece of precious advice. To prevent the people he loves from dying, he must work hard and become stronger. Only after that will he be able to change the world, instead of just standing not doing anything. Which reminds us of a certain Rude, who would do that in the beginning. Rest in peace, Brother Rude. Your idiousness shall be missed. This gets Sungmin to cheer up, and Scarlet tells him to take some rest now since tomorrow they will be making plans to leave for Brendon. She leaves the room for him to rest. Alone with nothing but his thoughts, Sungmin goes over the previous battle with the monster girl and flexes a mini sword in his hand. The thing that came out of the spear was strength and energy, and it was something he has rarely seen or done. He reminds himself that he mustn't think about useless things, but instead work on getting stronger. They have finally arrived in Brendon City. For Scarlet, this is the first time she has come to the Central Plain City, and fortunately for them, they didn't get attacked along the way. At least not yet. She pats Sungmin's back and asks him what their next plans are. He doesn't wish to see the Shaolin right away, right? They should probably rest a bit and have something to eat. He agrees, and the two enter a nearby restaurant. She asks what he wishes to eat, but he still doesn't know yet. This is what peak relationships are like. You can never decide where or what to eat because your girlfriend will probably say she doesn't want to eat that. Scarlet remarks how she has never eaten from such a place before, but what is even more annoying are the flies that have been staring at them from the moment they entered. They have been checking them out from head to toe and are giving the weirdest looks ever. Even Sungmin has noticed this weird atmosphere. However, for Sungmin, this isn't something new. He has faced this multiple times already. This is because when a martial artist reaches a supreme level, they achieve origin reversal, which is when the profound internal energy that they have cannot be seen by others. But in the case of Lee Sungmin, he had achieved just one of the requirements to becoming a supreme martial artist master with his strength and energy, but hasn't been able to meet the other requirements, so he's pretty much still incomplete to be a master. Scarlet gets the point. Since his energy is overflowing, it has attracted the attention of all those flies up there. The mere mention of flies gets one of these men to stand up and demand whom she's calling flies. This man, or mixture of man and woman, has quite the charm around he/her, pun intended. He stares at Scarlet and tries to butter his way into her heart. Well, Mr. Unspecified Gender, you won't be able to tame this redhead, especially with those tangled knits in your hair. Scarlet absolutely despises the man and tells him to shut up and go eat something, since whatever he says from that sour tongue has only made her barf and want to kill him. So, if he doesn't put a sock in it, she isn't going to let him live. Those thorny words from her pinches this gentle male's ego, and he gives her one last chance to take those words back, otherwise things won't look good as he motions towards his sword. Scarlet doesn't take her words back and continually mocks his monkey-like behavior, and it ultimately leads to him actually jumping from the second floor towards them like a legit monkey with a sword in hand. Scarlet yet again is unfazed and mocks him. Sungmin gets up to kick him away, but someone else has entered the chat. This certain someone knocked down the monkey with just a piece of coin. The man remarks how shameful it is to have someone behave this way with an opponent who is stronger than he is. He turns around and apologizes to Sungmin over this idiotic behavior, and hopes it won't be much of an issue for the waiters in cleaning him up. The man introduces himself as Namgung Huion of the Namgun clan, a top rising star with the Sword Dragon ability. Scarlet recognizes his clan that has numerous strong martial artists, and is glad that he showed up. He shows his desire to join their table, which he happily agrees to as long as he pays the bill. He agrees and takes a seat near Sungmin. He continues to stare at him, and after a while asks if he is perhaps the little heavenly demon Ouija Hoyon. The mention of that name gets Sungmin to spit out all the contents of his drink over Scarlet, who looks back at him with a deadly stare. Quon explains how that monster is the only one close to Sungmin's energy, and so he wished to know if he really is him. There are only 3 martial artists called Heavenly Demons in area: Blood Heavenly Demon Baekwa Sun, Berserk Heavenly Demon Byakwon Pei, and the Little Heavenly Demon Ouija Hoyon. Some say that he is in actuality a female too, but that hasn't been confirmed yet and are just speculations. During their chat, Sungmin's head is smashed on the table by Scarlet, who still hasn't forgotten the waterfall in her face done by yours truly, Lee. Quon gets the idea that he isn't really Ouija after all. Nonetheless, since Sungmin possesses similar powers and abilities, he wishes to know who he is. Lee gives him a formal introduction, and quickly asks the big question if he knows where Ouija is. But sadly, that information is still in the dark, and he would get a better idea by asking around. Quon requests Lee of one more request, if he would be willing to spar with him. Lee sees no issue with this innocent request and agrees to do it, since he could polish his abilities by sparring someone who is as good as him. However, Quon wants to spice things up a bit, and he places a bet to make things interesting. The bet is the loser would have to become the winner's brother. Amongst a multitude of bets to place, Quon wants the loser to be the winner's brother? This man has been stripped of friendship and so decides to get strong and get brothers after defeating them. Bromance at its finest. Lee Sungmin and Quon both enter the fighting arena. It is time to battle. Sungmin tells Quon that he might not be able to match his expectations since he is still a bit rusty. Quon laughs it off and gets into his fighting stance. The aura around him takes a complete 180-degree turn, and he no longer possesses the carefree attitude. This is something Sungmin had already expected since he is the strongest of the next generation in his clan, and he knows this thanks to his previous life. This man is powerful and is most probably a P martial master, or maybe even a supreme peak martial master. Scarlet is sitting in a corner getting bored to death by this battle. She takes a big yawn and shows no interest in what's going on in their minds. Quon is the first to create after images thanks to his speed and footwork. Sungmin knows he can't fall for them because if he did, he would lose instantly. In this case, he just uses Shadowless Soul Flight, first form, as a way to counter the attack. Just like that, Sungmin gets face to face with Quon and is inches away from hitting with his spear. Quon dodges his attack and uses his sword to absorb the spear's energy. This fight is getting interesting by the minute. Sungmin tries every single move in his dictionary, but no matter what he does, Quon for some reason is able to dodge the attacks and even throw them away. His skill and expertise can be seen here. This man is more experienced than Sungmin thought. Quon acknowledges the fact that if this was a real spear, then his sword would have been broken into 2. He would be in danger if he continues to fool around this way. Not to mention he doesn't wish to call someone younger than him as his brother. For Sungmin, this isn't much of a fight, since if he loses, then he just needs to call him his old brother, and that doesn't bother him much. Scarlet is praying to God that this battle ends quickly, and she has never been bored to death. Quon cuts off the chit-chat and charges towards Sungmin with his sword. He wants to end this quickly. The two go toe-to-toe with each other, but Quon has something under his sleeve. Sungmin is still inexperienced with his spear, to which Hee-won takes advantage by trapping it with his sword and absorbing all its energy. He pushes him away and midair unleashes his Supreme Nine Heaven Spear, second form, but that is easily dodged by Hee-won and he lands the finishing blow. Hee-won comments on how despite there being several after images from his quick moves, he knows that there was only one pull, and after he found it, all he had to do was strike. With his sword pointing at Sungmin's neck, Hee-won is declared the winner, and as silly as it sounds, Sungmin ends up calling him his big brother. Hee-won picks him up and gives him a review of where he lacked and where he was good at, after which he keeps an arm around his shoulder and tells him to go with him to the Shaolin Temple. Scarlet wakes up from her nap and watches the two laugh. Something feels fishy and not right here, she just doesn't know what. In another place, a dark and scary place, a man who was seen meditating does a sly chuckle. He could feel the omnipotent chaos god coming.